Good morning. So today we're going to be solving direct proportion problems, but more challenging ones involving squares and roots. First of all, let's start off with a recap. So remember, when two quantities are directly proportional, let's say y and x, they are always linked by a constant rate. So we just put these quantities together with an equal sign and that constant rate. So let's try a more challenging problem then. So we're going to be writing an equation linking x and y for this first one. So we have y is directly proportional to x squared. Notice how this style of question is different to last lesson, because now we're comparing y and x squared. So we know that y and x squared are connected with that rate, which we don't know yet, so we're going to call it k. So we're going to say y equals k x squared. So notice I've done x squared because x squared is in my question. So I'm reading the question carefully. Okay, so to write an equation linking x and y, all I need to do, I just need to find this rate. To find this rate, I'm going to substitute in what they've told me. So instead of y, I'm going to write 36, and instead of x, I'm going to call it 3. I know that 3 squared is 9, so something times by 9 gives me 36. What does that k have to be? Well, k has to be 4. Okay, now piecing that all together, I'm taking my general equation, I'm going to update it because I know that k is 4. So instead of y equals kx squared, I'm going to write y equals 4x squared. And that is my final answer. Please could you pause the video and have a go at your question. So notice yours is slightly different because we're looking at the square root of x this time. Okay, so I know that y and the square root of x, they are linked by this constant that we just don't know yet. So y equals something root x. So let's find out what this something actually is. So substituting in what I know, so 36 equals k root 9. Well, we know the square root of 9 is 3, so something times by 3 makes 36. What does k have to be? Right, well, that means that k is 12, because 12 times 3 is 36. So now that I've found that constant, now that I know that k is 12, instead of y equals k root x, I can write y equals 12 root x, because k is 12. I worked that out. So that means in words, y is 12 times the value of the square root of x. Okay, so please could you try task 1 on your worksheet attached on this post in Google Classroom, and write equations linking x and y. So it starts off relatively easier, but then from question 4 onwards, you've got those kind of powers and roots to be careful about. Right? And just as a heads up, all your solutions are going to be in the form x equals something. So x will be the subject of these equations. Okay, so now I'm going to cut to myself trying this first worked example, and then once you've watched me solve this problem, I want you to try your own. So I'm going to give you both examples, so please pause the video in between the two examples so you've got time to try one for yourself. Alright, so the first example, so y is directly proportional to x squared. So I know when I have two things that are directly proportional to each other, I can link them with that constant k. So I can write the equation for y equals kx squared. At the moment, we don't know what k is. As soon as I work out the value of k, I will then be able to write my equation linking these two values. Okay, so start off by substituting what we know. Well, y is 36, so instead of y, I'm going to write 36. And that equals k times by x squared, well, x is 3. So instead of x squared, let's call it 3 squared. Okay, so just doing a bit of maths, instead of 3 squared, well, obviously 3 squared is 9. And now, k times by 9 makes 36. What must k be? Well, dividing both sides by 9, that tells me that k must equal 4. Now that I know that k is 4, I'm going to substitute it back into that original equation. So I can say that y equals 4x squared. This is my answer. Okay, so that's the answer to the first part. Okay, so the second part of the question was, find y when x equals 5. Well, now that I've got my equation, so y equals 4x squared, well, I'm just going to substitute into that equation. So if x is 5, I'm going to say, well, y is 4 lots of 5 squared. So 4 lots of 5 squared means that, well, y is 4 lots of 25 and 4 lots of 25. So first of all, it tells us that y is directly proportional to x squared. We know that when two quantities are directly proportional, we can link them with that constant k. So I can write y equals k x squared. Okay, I don't know what k is yet, but let's substitute to find the value of k. So instead of y, we know that it's 12, and I'm told that when y equals 12, x equals 2. So instead of x squared, I'm going to write 2 squared. Okay, what maths can I do now? Well, 2 squared is 4, so 12 equals k times by 4. If k times by 4 makes 12, well, we know that k has to be 3. If k is 3, I'm going to substitute that fact back into the original equation, and that tells me that y equals 3x squared. That is my answer to the first part. Okay, so the next part was find y when x equals 3. Okay, so I have my equation now. So if x is 3, I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to say y equals 3 lots of, well, instead of x squared, well, if x is 3, it's 3 lots of 3 squared. So y is 3 lots of 9, which means that y is 27. And that is my final answer. Alright, so please can you find task 2 on the worksheet that I've attached for you in Google Classroom, and all your answers are on there as well. Just please get in contact with me if you need any help with anything. Thanks very much.